Safety while kitesurfing is depending on many different factors, as well as a good education, wind, weather, the spot, the material, the functionality of the safety system, and lots of other factors play a role in the safety. We would like to dig deeper into one of the most important and safest factors and explain to you what you need to be careful of being a kitesurfer. Wind strength. It is easy to understand that wind has a massive influence on safety whilst kitesurfing. Which wind strength is still safe for me, and when is it better to leave the kite in the bag? Of course, that depends on the level of the rider at hand. For beginners and for intermediate kitesurfers, the wind border would be maximum of 25 knots. Higher wind speeds make for a clearly bigger risk than light wind would. What is equally important is the direction of the wind. We divide between onshore winds, offshore winds, and sideshore winds. Onshore winds have the advantage that there is no danger of drifting out to sea, and that on the beach, it is very easy to estimate the wind strength. The disadvantage is that especially on spots where there is deep water, it is hard to get far enough into the water to avoid obstacles on the beach or shore. For kitesurfers who can't ride upwind yet, those conditions aren't the best and are actually dangerous. Offshore winds, on the other hand, have almost no obstacles towards the leeward side. However, it is very difficult to indicate how much wind there actually is, because wind usually gets stronger the further you get away from the shore, and therefore there will need to be a rescue boat in case of problems. Sideshore winds are the safest direction for kitesurfers. The necessary safety distance from the beach is easy to lengthen from the start already. And if anything happens to go wrong, it is easy to reach the shore again by performing a body drag. Weather forecast. To avoid unpleasant surprises, you should only enter the water if the forecast is stable, predictable, and safe. A lot of changes in the weather or gaps in the wind mainly make for changes in the wind strength and direction, and can turn a safe circumstance into a dangerous one very rapidly. The spot. It is the responsibility of every kiter to be certain that kitesurfing is allowed at the beach you want to use. Ask the local kite school or lifeguards where those zones are located before you launch your kite. A lot of beaches worldwide have their beaches divided in multiple zones, like for instance, swim zones, sport zones, and protected nature areas. Safe kite spots are easy to recognize because there are almost no obstacles on the leeward side. Obstacles downwind from your position make for a big safety risk, and you should always be 2 line lengths, more or less 50 meters away. Basically, you say that the less experience the kiter has, the bigger amount of distance they need toward the leeward side. What is a little harder to judge, but still a very important question, is are there any currents, shallows, sandbanks, or reefs? Depending on the spot, the tide can influence conditions and create different currents. A reef that is not shown with high tide but arises with low tide can be an extremely dangerous obstacle. Material. A further very important factor in safety is your material. Next to the condition of the chosen material, the size can also be the deciding factor. Also in this case, it's better to double check than to kite with a kite that's too big and immediately gets into trouble. Your special attention should be focused on your 3-step safety system. How the system works, and more importantly, if it works. This should be tested before starting. Both a helmet and an impact vest are 2 other very useful equipment aids that improve your safety and are always recommended. On the VDWS safety card, you will find a checklist that should help you to make your kite session as safe as possible. Your VDWS instructor team wishes you a lot of fun on the water.